Welcome back, guys, to another video on the Ben Glander football channel. Hope you guys are well, and today we are going to be discussing pretty much how much of a disaster West Ham are right now as a club. David Sullivan goes on Talksport this morning, and I'm pretty much going to have a look at what was discussed, give my thoughts on it. Make sure you guys give your thoughts on the discussion down below in the comment section, and also subscribe to the Ben Glander football channel as we're close to 1,000 subscribers. I support West Ham. If you support West Ham, hit the subscribe button for more West Ham content. Now, let's get into everything that was discussed, give my opinion on it. Make sure you give your opinion on it as well. So, West Ham United FC News pretty much summarised it on Twitter, what was discussed. I can't obviously play the video because of copyright reasons, so I've pretty much gone from this and basically give my opinion. Now, David Sullivan, Talksport, no regrets over selling Diangana. We have 8 wide players, 8 wingers. Now, what is my thoughts on this? I think you can pretty much tell from the first opening games with Diangana. Yes, West Brom haven't really started well, conceding 8 goals, but Diangana's been that bright spark and something that we lack in our team hugely. He's someone that is very different from our wide players, likes to get to the byline, likes to come inside, can do the other job by going outside and putting a cross in from the byline. A lot of the problem with our wide players is that everyone does pretty much exactly the same thing. Bowen was brought in, fantastic signing that has been very good for us so far, but he likes to cut inside from the right-hand side. Same with Snodgrass, does exactly the same thing. Cuts inside from the right-hand side, puts a cross in or a shot. Yarmolenko does exactly the same thing. Can you see the repetition? West Ham, even though we have 8 wide players, which I don't really understand where these 8 wide players come from, a lot of the players do exactly the same thing. There's no variety. The only traditional winger that you could possibly say that would be a little bit different, that would be able to get down the byline and put in a cross in, would be Masuaku. But he's deployed as a left wing back or left back. So does he actually count as a wide player? In my opinion, no. He could probably play there. But for me, Diangana was that one player that would give a little bit of variety to that West Ham wide play. Because, as I said, a lot of players do exactly the same thing. Anderson on the left-hand side likes to cut in from the left-hand side. Same with Fornals. That's what you get when you're playing players on one flank with the opposite foot. They like to drift inside. They like to come inside. And if you don't have someone who's overlapping, that's the big problem. So that is number one. He does not regret selling Diangana. Well, the fan base do, because you could say by the goal against Everton. And as Trevor Sinclair said in his Talksport interview, this guy, not saying he'll get an England called up, but he might have a very good Premier League career. Now, bids in for 2 or 3 players from top clubs abroad. I'm hoping one of them's a centre-back. I'm hoping one of them's a left-back or right-back, because despite the good performances of Masuaku, and to be fair, Fredericks had a good game against Arsenal, we still need to strengthen. Let's not just completely forget about the fact that both of these players, or just our left-backs and right-backs in general, have been absolutely shocking for the past couple of seasons. Don't go off by the fact they've played a couple of good games. Make sure we are improving those positions. So I'm hoping that a right back or a left back is on the cards and that we need to get him in. Now, all but confirms Tarkowski won't happen. Now, if I had to agree with anything from the sort of the interview that he had with Jim White, his puppet, then Tarkowski is the one that I would probably agree with. He basically, Sullivan goes on Talksport and he says that if we had 400 million and we'd spend 10% of our budget, 40 million on Tarkowski, whatever his name is, then it would probably happen. However, if we've only got 35 to 40 million pounds, why would you spend all of your budget on one player? And I can sort of see the sense in that, because in my opinion, yes, we do need to address our centre-backs. We also need to address the left-backs and right-backs. And does it make sense that we should put all our eggs in one basket and just sign one defender and that'll be it? However, I do believe that if David Moyes wants to sign him, you have to back him, because managers live and die by their transfers. Okay? David Sullivan goes on to say that he was the one that sort of pushed Diop and Fabianski onto Pellegrini. However, the transfers of Haller, Anderson, Jack Wilshere, all those players that Pellegrini brought him himself, managers live or die by the transfers they make, because they can influence results on the pitch. So if David Moyes goes and says, I understand we've only got 35 million to 40 million, but I want you to spend that money on Tarkowski, then you have to do it. In my opinion, you have to do it, because David Moyes will live or die by that transfer. And if, for example, we're crap still and Tarkowski doesn't really have the impact that Moyes thinks he would have, then you could say, at the end of the day, mate, you wanted him, we spent all our budget on him. You got to live or die by this decision. So for me, yes, whilst I can sort of understand that, should we go and buy like that Tumacalso, whatever his name is, who plays for Bologna in the Serie A? Yes, should we go and sign him for 20 million and then use that other 15 to 20 million, right, on fullbacks? However, in my opinion, I don't agree with Tarkowski coming just because of the fact it's known he doesn't want to join South and come down South, and if he's going to sign, it's only going to be for money. But if Moyes wants him, you've got to back him. However, the PR disaster, he has let teams know that we've got 35 to 40 million. And this is my problem. We have let teams know that we've only got 35 to 40 million pounds. Now, what does that say? We only have limited funds. What does that say to teams like Chelsea who want Declan Rice? They now know that West Ham, they want players, but because the manager wants top players, we can't get those players because we can't afford them, pretty much. What does it say to teams like Chelsea who are looking at Declan Rice, who have now made it Operation Rice, that Frank Lampard makes him the next signing for Chelsea? What does that say? They're going to start off with a low bid. Yes, we want 70 to 80 million pounds. West Ham will probably be, Chelsea will probably come in and think, you know what? David Sullivan's made this publicly known. They've got hardly any money. They can't sign the players they want because they've got no money. Let's start with testing the water. 40 million pounds. Yes, we all know as West Ham fans, 40 million will not even be touching the water. 40 million wouldn't get his left leg. Despite what other people or other fans think, if West Ham sell Declan Rice, he is worth 80 to 90 million pounds because of the fact we will probably get relegated. So it's vitally important that we do keep him. But you can't be going on public radio and saying we can't afford these players. Manager only wants top players, but the ones he wants we can't sign because, one, we have limited funds, and we can't sign Talkowski because it'll be all of our budget. You can't go on radio. You can't go on radio and say that because sharks, Chelsea are smelling blood. They're smelling blood that West Ham have got no money. They, our owners come out and publicly said they're going to start with low bids. They're going to try and turn Declan Rice's head. And as soon as that first bid gets rejected of 40 million, 45 million, Declan Rice will know. He will know that Chelsea are looking at him. He already knows it now. But once that first official bid gets rejected, he will know. He will smell, that Chelsea are coming, that he wants to go to Chelsea. So for him to just come out in public, some things just need to be left unsaid. You do not come out in public and say, we've got hardly any money, the players Moyes wants to sign. You just don't do it. Some things you just got to keep on the down low and be quiet about it. I just don't understand it. I just really don't understand it. He then goes on, talks about the director of football. We went, Pellegrini, the fans wanted a big name. They wanted the director of football to sort of, take control of the transfers. We took a back seat. We've now gone down the traditional route, back to the British manager route, where the manager has the final say on signings. As I was alluded to earlier in the video, he was talking about that he brought in Diop. He brought in Fabianski. He was the one that wanted, to sign these players, not the manager. He had to kind of push them down their throat. Yes, Fabianski, on the whole, he hasn't really been good since his injury. He's made a couple of mistakes. On the whole, you've got to say, for £7 million, it's been a very good signing. I would say anyway, considering the keepers we've had in the past, he's been a very good signing. Diop hasn't hit the heights as you would have hoped. However, he's still young. He can still improve. £22 million, and there's also a resale value on that. We might be able to even make a profit on him if he was to sell him now. Who knows? But in my opinion, you can't just be stuffing players down managers' throats. Like, no offence, but I don't think David Sullivan has the football knowledge where he would be like, you know what, that Diop who's 20 years old at Toulouse, Pellegrini, you should sign him. I don't know whose Diop's agent was, but, probably had something to do with the fact that he was signed, not the fact that, Sullivan had some kind of football knowledge and thought, yeah, we must sign him. He's a decent centre-back. Probably doing his mate a favour. So, for me, this just, at the moment, I feel like this sort of video, which obviously I couldn't play for copyright reasons, but obviously this sort of passage, the message that's been sent out, pretty much summarises everything that is wrong with West Ham right now. We have owners, publicly saying how much money we've only got, 35 to 40 million. However, the bad thing about that is for them, they've made a rod for their own back because now they've made it public knowledge. If we don't sign anyone on a permanent transfer or only loan players, he said that we had a 35 or 40 million budget. So I'm expecting West Ham to at least spend 30 million on transfers in the next week or two. It has to happen because otherwise that is the same squad that almost got relegated. So we need to spend. Whether it is spending 30 million or 40 million on Tarkowski, whilst I don't agree with it, as I said, you've got to back your manager. They live or die by these transfers. You've got to back your manager. If he wants to spend 30 million and use all his budget, let the manager do it. You said the manager has the final say. But don't come out and say that we're not going to spend all our money on one player. If the manager wants him, you sign that player if you can, and you spend all your budget. And then Moyes, later down the line, will live or die by that decision. That is my opinion, guys. Make sure in the comment section down below, you let me know your opinion on everything right now. West Ham, it's just an absolute shambles, let's be honest. I think you'll like this video and this interview on Talksport. Just pretty much summarises the mood of the club. It's a shambles, a complete sham. Let me know, guys. Make sure you hit the subscribe button for more West Ham videos. And hit the like button on the video as well. That'd be greatly appreciated. And I'll catch you next video. See you later.